In this video, we're going to talk about intercepts, specifically x and y intercepts. Okay, so first some definitions. The x-intercept is the point on the line where the graph intersects the x-axis. Okay, x-intercepts we haven't worked with yet. We've worked with y-intercepts. Okay, y-intercepts are like here, all right? Whatever this point would be, that would be the y-intercept, okay? So that is the point on the line where the graph intersects the y-axis. Okay? Let's take a look at an example. All right. So we've got a graph of a line and we want to write down the coordinates of the x-intercept and the coordinates of the y-intercept. Okay? So know the x-intercept means the point on the line where the graph intersects the x-axis. So the graph is hitting the x-axis right over here. All right? So that is going to be the point, well, the x is 2 and the y is 0, so that's the point 2, 0. Okay, coordinates of the y-intercept, the graph is hitting the y-axis over here, and the coordinates of that point are 0, -5. All right, next one. For this one, the x-intercept, okay, so we want to look where the line is hitting the x-axis, and that's going to be right here between 0 and 1, so that's going to be 1/2, 0. Usually they won't come out to fractions, but sometimes they will. All right, the y-intercept. Where's the line hitting the y-axis? Well, that's again going to be between 0 and 1, so that's going to be 1/2, and the coordinates of that point are 0, 1/2. All right, so let's take a look at what happened here. If we look at the coordinates of both x-intercepts, the coordinate of the x-intercept on the first graph was 2, 0, and the coordinates of the x-intercept on the graph on the right was 1/2, 0. Notice that we have zeros for both in the same spot, okay? So for the x-intercepts, the second part of the coordinate, or the y, is always going to be 0. All right, and let's look at the y-intercepts. We have the y-intercepts 0, -5, and also 0, 1/2. You should notice that the x part of the coordinate is always 0, okay? So for y-intercepts, x always equal to 0. So for x-intercepts, the y is always 0. For y-intercepts, the x is always 0. So it works opposite, okay? We're going to use that to solve for our x-intercepts. So to solve for the x-intercepts, we're going to set the y equal to 0, okay? And then we're going to solve for x because we want the x-intercept, okay? Well, opposite is true for the y-intercept. For the y-intercept, we know that the x is always 0, and then we want the y-intercept, so we're going to solve for the y. Okay, let's take a look at how this works. Okay, the equation is 3x minus 6y equals 18. We want to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept and then use them to graph. Okay, so let's do the x-intercept first. Okay, so our steps above says to solve for the x-intercept, we're going to set the y equal to 0, and then we're going to solve for x. So in here, I'm going to replace the y with 0. We're going to go 3x minus 6 times 0 equals 18. That's just 3x. That's just minus 0, so we're going to ignore that. Equals 18 divided by 3 divided by 3. That means x equals 6, okay? So that is the x-intercept. All right. Oops. Let's do the y-intercept. Okay. So to solve for the y-intercept, we're going to set the x equals 0, and we're going to solve for y. So in here, I'm going to replace the x with 0 and solve for y. We're going to go 3 times 0 minus 6y equals 18. 3 times 0, just 0. We'll ignore that. We're just left with negative 6y equals 18. Okay, that means y is negative 3. Okay, how do we use that to graph? Well, we know the x-intercept is 6. So on the x-axis, right, x-axis, y-axis, we're going to put a point on 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and on the y-axis, we know the intercept is negative 3, so it's going to be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, okay? And then we have 2 points. We've got enough to draw the line, okay? And I don't have a ruler with me, but the graph's going to look like that. Okay, let's go to the back. Okay, 6x plus 4y equals negative 36. All right, x-intercept. We know the y is equal to 0 here. Okay, so we're going to substitute in 0 for y. I'm going to go 6x plus 4 times 0 equals negative 36. So 6x, that's just going to make 0. So the x-intercept is going to be negative 6. All right. Y-intercept. Okay, for the y-intercept, the x is 0. Remember, it works backwards. So we're going to go 6x plus 4 times 0. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Six times 0. I messed up. I messed up again. Sorry. Okay. 6x. So 6 times 0 plus 4y equals negative 36. Okay, so 6 times 0, of course, just 0. So we're left with 4y equals negative 36. Divide. I broke yet another pencil. Divide. So that means y is negative 9. Okay. So x-intercept is negative 6, y-intercept is negative 9. Let's see what that looks like. So x-axis, y-axis, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. So the x-intercept is right there. Y-intercept is down at negative 9, 1, 2, 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, 7, negative 8, negative 9. All right. So we have both of our intercepts. We have 2 points that we need to graph the line, and we're just going to, wow, I totally missed that intercept. We're just going to connect with a straight line. Okay. All right, so why don't you try the last one and pause and check back for the solution. Okay. So the x-intercept, set y equal to 0. So we're going to go 4x plus 2 times 0 equals negative 12. 4x equals negative 12. So the x-intercept is negative 3. Okay. Y-intercept. Okay, that's where x is 0. So I'm going to go 4 times 0 plus 2y equals negative 12. Okay, that simplifies to just 2y equals negative 12. So the y-intercept is negative 6. Okay, x-intercept negative 3, y-intercept negative 6, and that's going to look like negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Wait, that's the y-intercept, wow. So the y, I'm going to do the y-intercept first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just over there, and the x-intercept is -1, -2, -3. Okay, and get a straight line through those points, and there is your graph.